we're going to try these 14 questions. So I'd like to pause the clip and try them by yourself first, and then you can self-assess as I go through each of the questions one by one. Just making it a bit bigger so that it's easier to see. So question 1, I can see that on the left hand side I've got 2 times something is equal to 14. Now because this 2 is a factor of 14, I can divide both sides by 2. So if I divide this side by 2, and I divide that side by 2, 14 divided by 2 is 7 on the right hand side. On the left hand side, the times 2 and the divide 2 cancels out, leaving me with just 3x minus 5. Now to get the x on its own, I have to add 5 to both sides. So 7 add 5 is 12 on the right hand side. Here the take away 5 and the plus 5 cancels out, leaving me with just 3x. Now to get the x on its own, we have to divide both sides by 3. So 12 divided by 3 is 4, and on the left hand side, times 2 and the divide 2 cancels out, leaving with just x. So x is equal to 4. And as usual, I'd advise you to then substitute this value into your original equation to check if your answer is correct. To save time now, I'm not going to do that anymore. I've done enough of those in the last question where I've shown you how to substitute to get the answers. So remember, by substitution in the test or in time you're doing these questions, you can check if your answer is correct. In question 2, I can see that it's 4 times something is equal to 10x. Now 4 is not a factor of 10, so I can't just divide both sides by 4. So what we normally do is we just expand the bracket on the left hand side. Okay, but I want to do something slightly different here because I've done lots of those before, and also it would be just nice to take a different approach. So here, because 4 is even and 10 is even, I know that 2 will go to both numbers, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So remember, if you want to just expand the left hand side and continue, you could do that. So I might just try to do both methods. So if I divide the right hand side by 2, I'll get 5x, and if I divide the left hand side by 2, well, 4 divided by 2 is 2, and we still have our bracket, so 3x minus 1 is equal to 5x. Now I will expand the left hand side. So to expand that, I'll do it here using the grid method. So 2 times 3x is 6x, and 2 times minus 1 is minus 2. So the left hand side is 6x minus 2, which is equal to 5x. Now which side has more x's? So I can see the left hand side of the equals have more x's. So there's 6x here and there's only 5x there. So I want all the x's to be on the left hand side. So to do that, I have to take away 5x on the right, and I have to take 5x away from the 6. So the 5x take away 5x is just 0, and 6x take away 5x is 1x. Don't need to write 1x, just write x, and then minus 2 just comes down. Now to get the x on its own, I have to get rid of this minus 2 here. So I add to this side, I add 2 to this side. So x, because the take away 2 and the add 2 cancel out, leaving just x on the left hand side, and on the right hand side 0 add 2 is just 2. So x is just equal to 2. And again, I would substitute this in. Wherever I see x here, I replace it with 2, and if it's correct, if left hand side equals right hand side, then yes, x is equal to 2. Now I did say I was going to show you the other way as well. So the other way would be just to multiply the left hand side. So it would be 4 times whatever's in the bracket. So we'll do that using the grid method. So the 3x minus 1 will come on the top, and the 4, this 4 here, will be on the left there. So 4 times 3x is 12x, and then 4 times minus 1 is minus 4. So the left hand side is equal to 12x minus 4, and this is equal to 10x. So all I've done is I've expanded the left hand side out. So as usual, I can see more x's on the left hand side, so I want to get all the x on the left hand side, so I'm going to get rid of the 10x on the right hand side. So I'm going to take away 10x here, and I have to take away 10x here. So 10x take away 10x means it's just equal to 0, and here 12x take away 10x is 2x, and the minus 4 will just copy it down because we haven't done anything with that. And then to get the x on its own, I have to get rid of the minus 4 on the left hand side. So I add 4 on the left, I have to add 4 on the right. So what's 0 add 4 on the right is 4. Obviously this take away 4 and add 4 cancel out, leaving with just 2x. And now if I want the x on its own, I have to divide both sides by 2. So divide both sides by 2. So x is equal to 2. So I've shown you both ways of doing that. You can choose which method you like. I just like this method here, the left hand side method, because it just kept the numbers smaller, because I could divide both sides by 2, and that could be useful in a question. Although to be honest, in this question it wouldn't make much of a difference. In this question I've got 3 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 7x plus 1. So here there's no other option, I have to expand the left hand side out first. So if we use the grid method, so the 2x and copy down here, and the plus 1 will be here, and the 3 goes here. So 3 times 2x is 6x, and 3 times plus 1 is just plus 3. So the left hand side expanded is 6x plus 3. Now if you don't understand that, there's a separate playlist for expanding brackets, you can go and watch that. Is equal to 7x plus 1. Now I have to ask myself which side has more x's. So obviously the right hand side has more x's, because I can see 7x on the right. So that means I do not want any x on the left hand side. So I will get rid of the 6x by doing minus 6x on the left, which means I have to do minus 6x on the right. Now obviously on the left hand side, 6x take away 6x is just 0, leaving with just plus 3, which I can just write like this. I don't need to write 0 plus 3. And on the right hand side, 7x take away 6x is just 1x. Again, I don't need to write 1x, I can just write x, and the plus 1 here, I've done nothing with it, I can just copy that down. Now to get the x on its own, we will have to get rid of the plus 1 on the right hand side. So how do you do that? We take away 1 on the right, so we have to take away 1 on the left, so we're taking away 1 from both sides. So that means on the left hand side, 3 take away 1 is just 2, and on the right hand side, well, the plus 1 and the minus 1 cancels out, leaving with just x. So that means that we think x is equal to 2. Question 4, we will have to expand the left hand side and the right hand side. So starting off with the left hand side, I'm going to do 5 times 2x minus 2, or expand the bracket. So I'm going to use the grid method. So I have 2x minus 2, and I have 5 outside the bracket. So 5 times 2x is 10x, and then 5 times minus 2 is minus 10. So on the left hand side of the equals, when you expand it, you have 10x minus 10. And now we'll do the same thing on the right for the right hand side. So draw the grid. X plus 3, we're multiplying that by 2, so 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times plus 3 is plus 6. So right here 2x plus 6. Now we have to decide which side do we want to collect all the x's. I can see there's more x's on the left hand side because I can see 10x. So that means I do not want any x's on the right hand side. So I have to get rid of the 2x. So I do that by taking away 2x on the right. But if I take away 2x on the right, for it to balance, I have to take away 2x on the left as well. So now on the left hand side, 10x take away 2x is equal to 8x. And the minus 10, we've done nothing to that, so that just comes down. And on the right hand side, 2x minus 2x is just 0. 0 adds 6, which is 6. So I can just write that as 6. And now to get the x on its own, I'll have to get rid of the minus 10. To do that, I'll have to add 10 to both sides. So 6 add 10 is 16. And on the left hand side, 8x, and the minus 10 and the plus 10 cancels out, so just 0. So 8x is equal to 16. So to get the x on its own, I have to divide both sides by 8. So 16 divided by 8 is 2. And over here, the times 8 and the divided cancels out, leaving with just x. So the answer is x is equal to 2. Notice how all the equals are in a straight line here. So our final answer is x is equal to 2. And again, I would substitute in to check that my answer is correct.